Welcome back to Professor Snyder's, that's me, Music Biz News. Sony's new system can identify original tracks inside AI-generated music. Sony Group develops tech to identify original music in AI-generated songs. The technology spells good news for artist compensation. Does it? Is this cause for celebration by humans who say it's only fair for those with the original ideas to get compensated? Sony Music Group's parent company, Japan-headquartered Sony Group, has developed a technology that can identify original music in AI-generated tracks. This analyzes musicians' songs used to learn and generate music, quantifying each contribution as a percentile. For example, the prompt could report that 30% of the music used is by the Beatles and 10% is by Queen. How does it work? The technology operates through two methods. First, provided that AI developers agree to cooperate, Sony Group will obtain data by connecting to developers' base model systems. Otherwise, the second way, Sony's new music detection technology estimates the original work by comparing AI-generated music with existing songs. Sounds good, but Sony Group hopes that AI development companies will incorporate the technology into their own models, and content companies will use it in negotiating licenses. Sony will no doubt patent and charge a pretty hefty fee for the tech, like it does for other tech it licenses in audio and cameras and PlayStations and etc. However, it remains unclear how proactively AI developers will use the technology to honor copyrights. Sony Group has not confirmed even when the system will launch. So AI detection is in great demand, and the rush to be the first is on. For example, here's a list of AI detection companies that analyzes text and their success rates. You can see there are a growing number of AI detection companies. I'll post this graph on my source blog if you want to take a closer look. And in music, Deezer seems to be ahead in detection as far as music goes. A year after the launch of Deezer's AI music detection tool, the company is now making it commercially available and encourages industry-wide transparency. Advertising a 100% success rate, so far, Deezer has been the only music stream platform to clearly tag and exclude AI-generated music from recommendations, in an effort to prevent fraudulent actors from stealing royalties from real artists through mass-produced AI-generated music. Now the company moves to sell its AI detection tech, offering the wider music industry an option to support transparency in music streaming and reduce the incentive for AI music fraud. Note that it works only for totally AI-generated music, not individual parts of a song that is AI-generated, like maybe some of the lyrics or melody. And companies like Bandcamp are relying on human subscribers to identify songs as being AI-generated. This has already resulted in the takedown of human-made music. After Bandcamp's No AI ban, the first artist report deleted and lost catalogs. But identifying AI in a song isn't the same as listing the original sources the AI used to create the song. And that's what Sony's claiming. And there are three methods for this. First, AI origin check. Trace analyzes an uploaded file's spectral and temporal patterns, metadata, and watermark markers to determine whether it likely came from an AI model versus a traditional studios chain. Who is going to create a database of these identifiers for comparison, and how will they be attached to the AI bits used to create a song? Ironically, I'm sure this will be done by AI. AI detecting AI. The second method is deep search against catalogs. It runs high-precision similarity scans, 1-to-1 and 1 to some number, against music catalogs and known AI datasets to detect overlapping melodies, samples, or sections that may indicate derivative or infringing use. Again, who's going to create the database that includes every record ever made for comparison? Assuming record labels open up their catalogs to even be archived. The third method is voice and data set overlap. For vocals and style cloning, Trace can check for matches against licensed voice DNA or training sets to see whether a given AI vocal or texture uses authorized source material. It simply looks to see if the music has been authorized to be used by AI. I'm not sure if there's a standard watermark or some kind of identifier that the labels are now attaching to their music, but even if that tech exists, how long will it take to tag thousands, if not millions, of recordings? And there are a couple of issues with all of this. First, one of the examples the labels used against Suno and Udio during the lawsuits was Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Goode. Suno, by using prompts like 1950s rock and roll, rhythm and blues, 12-bar blues, rockabilly, energetic male vocalist, singer, guitarist, along with snippets of the song's lyrics, almost exactly replicated the Go Johnny Go chorus. And the Udio lawsuit offers similar examples, noting that the labels were able to generate a dozen outputs resembling Mariah Carey's perennial hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Why would they do that? Anyway, the problem was there are hundreds of other versions because the rights to a particular sound recording cover only that specific recording, not other recordings that imitate it. That exception, known as a compulsory license, raises a possible complication to the record label's infringement claims. Suno and Udio both argue that the record labels have not claimed that any outputs from their platforms have actually produced an identical version of one of their songs. The plaintiffs, the record labels, disavow any contention that any output ever generated by Suno has ever infringed any right that they own. So are artists' hopes to be paid for their music being detected to train AI in vain? Have you ever heard of Common Crawl? Most people haven't. It and Wikipedia are two of the largest sources of archived internet data that is used for AI training. But Common Crawl is the 100 billion web page data set that powers AI. Common Crawl is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that crawls the web and freely provides its archives and data sets to the public. And one of the most important sources of pre-training data for large language models, it is used so frequently and makes up such large proportions of the overall pre-training data, in many cases that it arguably has become a foundational building block for LLM or AI development, and subsequently generative AI. It provides 80% of the data used by AI. Common Crawl has so far indexed more than 5 billion internet pages, adding up to 81 terabytes of data made available through Amazon's cloud computing service. And for about $25, a programmer can set up an account with Amazon and get to work crunching Common Crawl data. The first version of ChatGPT, which was published in 2022, wouldn't have been possible without Common Crawl. In the AI companies like Common Crawl, in 2023, it began receiving significant financial support from AI companies including Anthropic and OpenAI, each of which donated, because it's a nonprofit, $250,000. Here's a chart showing how Common Crawl not only continuously scans the internet for new data, it constantly revisits previous data to see if something changed. Every month, it collects 3 to 5 billion web pages. My point is that long before ChatGPT, Common Crawl had already been archiving everything on the internet, including all of the music ever uploaded to the internet. And this included copyrighted music. And AI companies were already using all of that data to train AI before anybody ever heard of ChatGPT. And last year, Elon Musk said the cumulative sum of human knowledge has been exhausted in AI training. That happened basically last year in 2024. In other words, it's all been gobbled up. So now record labels are putting all of their music in walled gardens and charging AI companies excess. Last year, Spotify paid out $11 billion in royalties to the music industry, with 70% of that going to the big three record labels. One has to wonder how much money the labels will make allowing AI access to their catalogs. Not because the songs haven't already been scooped up by AI, but I believe rather to just provide legal cover for the AI companies. If you aren't signed to one of the three major labels or independent labels under Merlin that represents a lot of independent record labels, it's unlikely your music will be protected in one of the walled gardens, which means not so much cause to celebrate. Your music is already scooped up by Common Crawl and other companies to feed AI. Sony's AI music detection, if it works, will only benefit those whose music is in a walled garden. And if you're paid 0.003 to 0.005 cents for a stream of a whole song on Spotify, you can probably expect much less, even if your music is in a walled garden. Like in the print world, as the walled gardens go up, even as these models reach sizes of epic proportions, they're running out of free internet text and music to train on. As free text and music becomes less of a competitive differentiator in the coming years, owning proprietary content sources will become all the more valuable, and the labels know this. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe to my channel and like and share and, bye.